if the cold wind blows, I'm gonna wind up working in the thick of it. Sunshine through the rain and snow. There's an oily brine bilge water baptism waiting below. That's just a wave slamming against the topside sound. Don't let the ever-rolling motion go and get you down. Don't let it shake your steady thread-cutting hand. Keep stealing ribbons from the steel and giving hell to every halyard you can. In spite of all, the wherewithal to fight it out, I'll embrace it all. When every day is like a war between the will to go on and a wish that the world would spiral into the sun. Turn your head toward the storm that's surely coming.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Good E-Reader Radio Show. My name is Michael. It's April 15th, 2018 here at goodereader.com, and we have a lot of news to get into today in the wonderful world of e-readers. First of all, Onyx just announced a whole slew of devices. No idea when any of them are going to be released, but let's talk about them sort of one by one. They're releasing the Book Note S. Now, it's interesting they're doing this because they just released the Onyx Book Note pretty well at the beginning of April, and there's still some stock shortages, rather. One of the big things about this device is it's kind of a stripped down version. So this is a 9.7 inch. It has a Wacom and a stylus layer, so you can interact with it with your hands and whatnot. So it has sort of a few things going against it. It has less RAM, a slower processor, and a smaller screen. The Book's Note 10.3-inch screen. This version, the Note S, has a 9.7-inch screen. Pretty well everything, is kind of going against it. No word of on terms of price or anything, but for people who can't afford like the $5.99 US for the Note, maybe you can get this for like $100 cheaper, maybe $150 US. I'm not exactly too sure. The next e-reader they announced was the Onyx Book Poke, like I'm gonna poke you. So this is the first 6-inch e-reader with a quad-core processor. 1.2 gigahertz quad-core processor, 1 gig of RAM, 8 gigs of internal storage, USB-C and Android 6.0. So this is a gooder. It doesn't have a front light though, but if front lights are your thing, the Nova might be for you. So this is a 7.8-inch e-reader. It's very much akin to some of the other devices. 1.6 gigahertz quad-core processor, 32 gigs of storage, 1 gig of RAM, Android 6, 2800 milliamp battery. It does have Bluetooth 4.0, so you can hook up like speakers, wireless headphones, sort of all that type of fun stuff. And they have another one called the eMusic Score. So this is the same as the Book Max, except it has 128 gigs of internal storage, which is absolutely insane. The Books Max I thought was pretty good, and then the Note came along, and I thought that just the Note was the best device that Onyx has ever released, but the Max 2 is no slouch either. So 128 gigs of internal storage is not bad in conjunction with 2 gigs of RAM, 1.6 gigahertz quad-core processor, a giant 4100 milliamp battery, Android 6, and of course Bluetooth and all that type of fun stuff as well. If you guys remember, I don't know when it was. It was a company out of Japan that was working on a dual screen manga reader. I think it was called the eNote. Let me just try to find this out here. But yeah, I mean, it was I'll find out the name, but so the big thing about this device is that it's dual screen, digital manga reader. It's issued by Progress Technologies. Yeah, the E1 book, and so they preload it with like sort of a lot of manga. So the ones that they're building right now is they have every issue of like Fist of the North Star. I think they're doing another one with like Naruto, another one with like, more of the popular type of like manga and stuff like that. And we're getting a review sample of it. So we're gonna probably maybe do something pretty interesting in terms of unboxings and reviews and stuff like that. Speaking of review videos, we do have something on our front page on the new Onyx Book Poke and the Nova e-readers. It's courtesy of company called Notebook Italia. They have like two videos that they shot, which is in English. It's basically from Onyx reps at the Onyx booth at the Hong Kong Electronics Fair. Amazon released a new firmware for the Amazon Kindle e-reader, so pretty well everything that was made after like 2014. Um, they have a new firmware update that makes making highlight easier. So it's like a way that you can kind of like initiate sort of like a bulk highlight mode where you can do like a ton of highlights at once. You do have to connect up via Wi-Fi in order to download some extra files from Amazon. Some people are just downloading it from like the Amazon main firmware site. So that's what, you can visit like an Amazon firmware site and install it directly on your e-reader rather than wait for Amazon to push the update out via Wi-Fi. But if you sideload in the update, you do have to connect up via Wi-Fi to the Amazon servers. They are pushing sort of like an incremental extra update. We did something pretty interesting. I've been kind of teasing it for a while. We have the Good e-reader audio reader for Android. Um, so we launched it like on Monday, and so this is like the first weekend that's kind of been out. We have close to 1,000 installs right now. Um, at the gate. I mean, for those of you who are listening that don't know anything about it, it basically turns any ebook into an audio book with Amazon Polly, and Amazon Polly is basically Alexa. So Polly was a company that Amazon bought for their digital voice assistant. They refined it, turned it on machine learning, it made Alexa out of it, but the voice assistant technology was basically the Polly text to speech system. And the interesting thing about Polly is it's fully supported by Amazon. So we kind of have like an Amazon TTS system. And the reason why we use this instead of Alexa with our app is because Alexa only does like two different languages, like English and I believe French. They don't really do anything else, whereas Polly does 28 different languages. So like Korean, Japanese, Portuguese, Portuguese like South America, but also like Portuguese from like Europe too. Has like five or six different voices just for like English US, like male, female voices. It's the same with like the UK and Australia too. Um, yeah, I mean, pretty well every major language in the world it supports, but also has male and female variants as well, even like Turkish and stuff like that, which I find kind of interesting. So we worked on this app for about 6 months. Pretty well, it comes with three books like preloaded into it, just royalty-free Project Gutenberg books like Alice in Wonderland, Charles Dickens. Prolific authors like in their own rights. We kind of selected them based on just them being classics, and we kind of really wanted just to promote reading and have people be able to test the system out right out of the gates. So pretty well, you could read it. Like the app is sort of a part ebook reader, an app where you could just read the book, adjust the line spacing, the size of the text, the font type, margins, the background, day and night mode, so the background is black and the text is white, or you can just go to a nice sepia mode, or you can just have like a white background with like black text, which is pretty well the usual. Or you can engage the text to speech function. So text to speech is not just on by default, you have to actually turn it on. People are digging it. I mean, I guess with Android in general, it's kind of hard for a new app to just come out and blow up right away, especially with like an e-reading app, because there's a lot of e-reading sort of apps out there. But I guess we're just positioning ourselves as that we're like the first Android app using Polly as a text-to-speech option instead of just the robotic option, which most e-reading apps have, like the little boy walked down the street. Just very robotic, very monotone, not very interesting. Polly kind of stops, pauses during like um, commas and periods. It respects hyphenation and stuff like that, which are things that I really kind of like about it. So yeah, we pushed it out. So this is our first week, and it's just on Android. We're thinking about launching on iOS as well, but we kind of have to, make back the development fees that we sunk into it first, and try to like recoup the money we spent on development, and then we'll release an iOS app soon. Because for me, I'm an Apple user. I have an iPhone. It's my primary phone. I have like my iPad is like my number one tablet, but then I have like 4 or 5 Android phones too that I just like, you know, bust out occasionally, but they're mostly just development phones, that test apps. And so, Audio Reader by Goody Reader is sort of like our flagship app. We also released a new news app. Is that a double entente? No, I don't think so. So yeah, it's like a news app for Android. We've released like 3 versions of our like a news app for Android, and I was like never happy with it. I think our first one was like in 2011. We did another one in like 2012, and then 13, and then 14, and just none of them ever kind of felt right. They always like felt like clunky, kind of locked in stone UIs and stuff like that. And I was just like, F it. I'm just gonna create a new app myself, and I'm not a developer, but I know my way enough around Android that I could like create sort of like basic apps. And I think that this new news app is actually pretty cool. You could so it gives you 30 stories, along with like all of our images. You can change the background from like day mode to night mode. You can change the size of the text. You could delete stories as you read them, so they won't appear on your feed anymore. You could like highlight specific stories and save them. There's a lot of versatility and options in order to like really kind of craft your experience. And our podcasts, our YouTube videos, our unboxings and reviews, they all look really good. There's minimal advertising. It's a total just native Android experience. You could go to the web version on every article, but you could just get along fine just reading the articles like right in the app. And yeah, I think it's probably the best news app that we ever released. So it's on Android, on Google Play right now. You can just search for good e-reader, sort of all one word in Google Play, and you can see all like our news app and our audio reader app that we have available. So yeah, that's my shameless plug of just I don't know, just things that we've released kind of lately that I'm kind of happy about. I think we've invested a lot of time into making apps because we're going to be making our own tablet soon. It's comparable to the Kindle Fire 7, so that sort of really cheap $49, $59 entry level Fire tablet that is a lot of people have. Ours is going to be like total open source. So like with Amazon Fire Tablet, it's like a skin UI. It just has Amazon services, the Amazon App Store. You really kind of have to root it and like do a lot of tech stuff if you want to have Google Play and stuff on it. Whereas our tablet, very much like our e-readers that we had, like the Good e-reader 6.8 and the 13.3, which is just like a UI and then just total freedom. We've I'm like a huge advocate of not locking you into like walled gardens. Like if you have an iPhone, you're locked into Apple's walled garden. If you have like an Android, from like Amazon, or you buy Android from like all these other companies and they have like all this bloatware on it. You buy like an Asus tablet, there's like 10 or 15 Asus apps. If you get an Acer tablet, it's like all these like apps that you don't want that you can't even uninstall. Our tablet will just be 100% vanilla Android. You could install, delete anything that you kind of want. I think we're going to retail it for like somewhere around $79 or so, maybe $89 at the most. And we will preload our own apps on it, but you will have full access to Google Play. So you'll have the Goody Reader App Store, the Goody Reader Audio Reader, the Goody Reader News app. Those will be like the only sort of apps that are preloaded on it. And that's just because, like, we developed this tablet, it's our branding and stuff. Why not have like our news site and stuff on it? Most of the people who buy it our readers and listeners and stuff to our website. So this is kind of like something we're probably going to launch in the next like few weeks. And I mean, we've released like 2 e-readers over the last like 3 years, and I think it's time that we do like our own branded tablet. It's not super high specs or anything like that. It's really comparable to the entry level Fire. Both in size, 7 inches, both in like resolution and overall experience. You're not going to get like a total HD experience. It's meant to be just like a tablet to read ebooks, um, to play apps, to watch movies, to listen to music. It has Bluetooth and all that, so you can go hands free if you want to. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to regale you with specs or anything at this point because it's not 100% locked in stone, but we have like a few like prototype models we've been messing around with, and we kind of feel that kind of like a really low cost entry level tablet that everyone could afford might be kind of cool. And unlike Fire tablets, you're not locked into like Amazon or us or anything. You can just download things from Google. You can sideload in all your own apps if you don't want to do business with like Google or us. Or but it's full vanilla Android, no skinned UI, kind of nothing. And I believe it's Android 6 out of the gate, but we are working on like an 8.1 Oreo update right now as sort of like a ROM and whatnot. In other news, Overdrive is the company that powers most libraries. They are launching a magazine service this summer. And so if you borrow ebooks or audiobooks from the public library, you'll also now be able to borrow magazines as well. And this is something that they're really kind of hyping up to libraries right now. They're launching with 50 to start. Oprah, ESPN, The Atlantic, New York Magazine, Newsweek, Reader's Digest, OK Magazine, HGTV, a lot of sort of, you know, mainstream magazines. And I think Overdrive's doing this because they see that like RB Digital, which is owned by Recorded Books, they have Zinio for their thing. And I know a lot of libraries that want a magazine selection, but Overdrive didn't really provide magazines, so they had to do business with like other parties like Magster or RB Digital. And this is kind of like a way that if you do business with Overdrive, which the vast majorities of libraries in the States do, I think they have like 92%. Overdrive's in 92% of all US libraries. So this is just makes it sounds like a no-brainer. So I just think it's kind of cool this summer you'll be able to like borrow magazines and stuff like that. I said I was a big fan of Apple and I have iPhones and stuff like that. Apple just released a new red iPhone. They did this before with like the Project Red type of thing to fight like AIDS and stuff like that. But now they're going to release like the red iPhone for everybody. It's not going to cost any extra prices. I think it looks kind of cool. It looks like a like a Ferrari, basically like Ferrari red. If it catches like the sun at a specific angle. I've seen some videos, seen a lot of pictures on it. Looks kind of cool. Um, let's kind of finish the show off talking about ebook piracy. So I wrote a big piece. It's gotten a lot of traction, sort of like online stuff like that. Mainly was because of a poll that we did. Ran it for about like 2 months or so. Roughly like 1,800 respondents. The number one response in where do you get your ebooks was piracy at 20%. The next highest one was Amazon at 17%. And then it's pretty well nothing was in the double digit figures, like iBooks 9%, Barnes and Noble 7%, public library 6%. So overwhelmingly, most people pirate books, and then a lot of people just do business with Amazon. Yeah, this there's been a lot of studies like this reports like Study Mania. 17% of all ebooks read in the UK are pirated, which is roughly about 4 million books. 10% of all German ebooks are actually paid for, so that means 90% are pirated. The average e-reader in the Netherlands holds about 117 books. Um, on average, 11 of them were purchased and the rest were pirated. 92% of all ebook readers in Russia obtain their books illegally. So I mean, you look at these huge markets, and I mean, it's like piracy mania. If you want to know more about it, you can just go to our website goodereader.com, and ebook piracy is on the rise in 2018. You can kind of like type that search term in, and yeah, there's a lot of comments, like people who are really for it, people who are really kind of against it. I believe on articles like a YouTube video as well, where I kind of like give you like sort of like a news item of it, whereas like I'm doing kind of like a vlog of it. So hopefully you've approved of this edition of the Good Reader Radio Show. My name is Michael, and everybody take care.